This game, I got an absolutely crushing pawn storm on the king side against the king, and then I want to show how I got to this position, and I think that would be very useful to know. So the first move I played was e4, and then we have basically the Roy Lopez here, and now Black decides to play this move d6, and now I play the move h3. And a lot of times with this d3 d6 move, Black is intending to play the move bishop g4. So I one of my typical kind of moves to play to prevent that is just play h3. And now Black decides to play the bishop d7, trying to, maybe they want to move the knight in the future and then try to take the pawn, or just play a6 here. So I just castle here, and now we have to move a6. And so I have a choice between going to a4 and e2 here. And in the game, I decide to play this move bishop e2. And I know because there's a very famous line, I believe it's called the Chigorin variation, where Black can basically do this, this, and after the move knight h5, sorry, a5, we have the move, after I play something like knight to, just developing knight to c3, then they have this move c5, which looks like a very big initiative, and Black basically pushes their whole queen side, and I didn't want to allow that whole, I know that could be a possibility, and I don't really want to face that variation, so I just go for the easier bishop to e2 move. And you can see Black's positions, they're not castled, and they have this great center at the moment, and they decide to play this move bishop to e7. Now I play d4, and the idea of d4, I could have played d3 in this position, but d3 is, for, in my opinion, a little passive. It's a more like a classical game. And here, since I'm playing a rapid game, I want to play a bit more aggressively. And so Black decided to take, I capture back, and now we have to move knight to f6. Just going for this pawn, and so I should develop and defend this pawn right there. And then Black castles, and now the move b3. There's a lot of places for my bishop to go here. I was thinking about this before playing the move b3. I was thinking about what's the best thing I can do. Where does this black squared dark square bishop belong? So if I play the move bishop g5, first of all, Black can probably just sacrifice here, and there I'm just down a pawn. And this works because after this, it's just basically what I'm trying to say is this bishop is just hanging there. So I can't do that. And if I just put the bishop to f4 here, then it's just staring at these pawns. And I know there's no pawn fork in the future, but I just didn't see a future for this bishop. So that's why in this position, I chose to play the move b3. And this, if I had this dark square bishop, I know there's some pieces in the center right now, but if I just had this dark square diagonal, then that would be very great for me. So that's why I play b3, that position. And now Black decides to play this move knight to e5. So knight to e5, they're bringing a lot of pieces into the king side, but it's an inaccuracy. It can't really do anything, and it's an inaccuracy according to the engine as well. And in this position, I could play the move. So what are the candidate moves? I can play this f4 move. I could develop my bishop. I could just try to move my king, connect the rooks. So I have a lot of moves, and in this position, I decide to play the move bishop to b2. Bishop b2, just trying to develop the bishop. And now Black plays the move c5. c5, just attacking my knight, and they basically trying to gain more control. So c5 does a couple of things. It attacks my knight, but also in the future, this Black can have more control of the d4 square. So I can't, maybe if I want to do like a queen d4 in the future, I can't do that anymore. So I think c5 was a good move. And now I just play this move knight to f5. And here's the really critical moment. I did have the choice to play knight to f3 in this position, but that, let's say I did that and then black trades. So this is definitely a fine position for white, and that actually is not that bad at all. But I was feeling aggressive and I want the initiative. And so I played this move knight to f5 here. And this is a very typical idea that I think a lot of people should remember, that so this knight is very strong and it can't be kicked out. If black decides to play the move just g6, then I can just take this bishop. And why is this good? Because now, since the dark squares are really weak for the king, my later plan in the future is maybe protect this pawn and then try to get this knight all the way, let's say, to this h6 square, and I'm going to have a whole bishop just controlling the diagonal. So if I can do that, then black is just completely lost. So that's why you don't want to play the move g6, try to kick out my knight. But also at the same time, this bishop here is completely, it's not useful at the moment, but it will be useful in the future. And this bishop, and my knight is very annoying. So what black decides to do in the game is to take it. But here you can see that what do you do with this pawn? This pawn, you can kind of view it in a couple of ways. It could seem like it's a little hard to defend, but also it could be one of your biggest assets to attacking the black king. So black immediately tries to go for this pawn, and really there's only one move, but there's a couple ways for me to defend it. I could play this move. It's not that great. I chose to play this move g4, just protecting the pawn, and you can see now I have the start of this great. My king side is a little loose, but if you look, why does this work? Because black doesn't really have any pieces that can directly attack my king at the moment, and right now I'm just getting a great initiative. Now we have queen to c6 here, and now I play this move f4, kicking out the knight. So of course you can't go here; it's blocked by the pawns. You can't go there. You can't go there, and so you can see, like, by me pushing my pawns in this position, it's great because now this knight is basically forced to go to d7, and then I play this move bishop to f3. So you can see my bishops are coming alive, and I'm gonna try to move my knight soon. And so now we have to move queen to b6. So you can see that they're threatening a discovery here, but even if they push and use that move, it's not that scary. So I just played the move g5 here. G5, just even if they push it, I'll just move my king probably to h2, and I think I'm fine. And so black has a retreat, and here I have a completely crushing position. And there's a lot of moves I can play here. So in the game, I decided to play the move. Actually, before I play the move, what would you do to to continue this attack for white? Well, like, what's the best idea? Do I do something with the queen? Do I try to bring the rook into the game? So take a couple moments just to kind of figure out what I played in the game here. So the move I played here is knight to d5. So knight to d5, just opening up the bishop, so I have complete control. And I'm also attacking this. I have a fork on the queen and the bishop here. So now the queen has to go back, and now I have to play the move rook to e1. And the rook to e1 basically says that how is black going to defend that bishop? Well, is there a way that they can defend that bishop? No, they can't. So what black decided to do in the game is just sacrifice the pawn. And of course I should take this. There's no other better moves. And so I take, and I did check. And now here I had a couple moves. So in this position, what I can do in the game is play either one of these two moves, and I chose to play the move king to h2. King to h2, just trying to open up the g1 square for the rook. And so if that does happen, you can see I'm going to have an amazing attack with the bishop and the rook, and basically black is completely lost here. So black tries to just defend the square by defending with the knight here, and I play the move rook to g1 because of course, like, it's never a bad move to put a rook against the king here. And now we have the move queen to h4, and so how does white attack here? Because if I just trade here, say I do this, then white is still winning, but it just feels like it's much harder to attack the king side here. So I don't want to do that. And right now, black is just threatening this queen to f2 as well. That's one of the things I saw in the game. And another thing that black can do is just play this move, knight to e5. Knight to e5, just trying to block the bishop's diagonal from the influence of this diagonal here. So in this game, I just played the move queen to f1. Queen to f1. The idea of queen to f1 was just I want to double the rook, or make basically create a battery against this g7 square, but also stopping this queen to f2 idea as well. So that was my idea behind that move. And in this position, black just brings the last piece into the game, and then I play my queen to g2 move, going for this g7 square. And now, how does black defend this? Well, they can play this move, yes, but I think they could definitely play that move. But in the game, what they opted to play was the move g6. And there's a lot of moves that I can play here. And I decided to play the move. I just decided to first bring in my rook. And then after the knight takes, of course, I have to capture back. And after this move, queen to h5, what I played was just capture the pawn there. And this was kind of annoying now because here my queen is pinned here. I can't actually, sorry, that's not the move I was intending. But I can't move my queen anymore. And here, I think I missed the move. I just missed checkmate here. But after this move, I decided to play the move. I had a bit of time, and I thought my position was crushing and I could play anything. So I decided to play the move g take h7. Although it's still winning, it's not checkmate him one though. Now we have the move king to h7, and now I just play the move rook to f2. So now I'm able to move my queen for checkmate. So for example, if black takes here, I'll take back. And here's the one thing that's very crucial about this. I know like by moving my queen, my bishop's undefended, but if they did this, then I would get this queen to h4, and then it's basically checkmate. The rook is controlling this whole file here, and I'm checking this. So basically black has to defend, and then I checkmate. So that's why you can't actually take the rook here. Okay, so I did defend in the game, and after the rook takes here, black decides to play the move f6. So, or sorry, you can't take the bishop, so they decide to play this move f6. And now we have, I just took the pawn. I didn't know what to do, just take the pawn. And after the rook goes to the e file, trying to go for the same idea, of course, I'm not going to allow that. So I just played the move rook to g2, just stopping that entire idea. And after the move d5, trying to probably block the dark square bishop's influence, I just took the pawn because if they take, it's the same situation as before. And in this position, black basically decide to resign the game. So that's how I capitalize. That's why you want to play the move. Where is it? Yeah, that's why the knight to f5 move can give you a lot of initiative, and so that's why That's a good trick to just remember whenever you're playing the Roy Lopez